What's going on, guys? It's your boy Headband J coming back at y'all with another video, and today I just wanted to make this little story time, mini documentary, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be called My Intramural Story. So without further ado, let's get right into it. 2018, I committed to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, also known as UNLV. UNLV doesn't really have a lot of big popular sports there right now. They're not really known for being good in any particular sports. They do have one national championship in basketball, and they have put together a few decent football teams. In fact, even saying a few decent football teams is a stretch. They fucking suck at football, to be blunt with y'all. But I committed to this school to study film, and I didn't even really do anything in my college search. I just jumped straight into whatever school would take me. My brother mentioned this school to me because he's in the film industry, and he had met some people from UNLV. Obviously, Vegas is close to California. So I just jumped into the application portal, applied there, got in, and I did not apply to any other schools. I was one and done when it came to applying. UNLV, despite not being super well known, it is a big Division I school, as I have mentioned. There's like 25,000, there's like 20 to 30,000 kids there. I'm not sure on the exact number, but any school above 20,000 kids is a big school, in my opinion. You know, actually, not just in my opinion, that's just a fact. If your college has more than 20,000 people, you go to a big school. That's like a little city that you have, basically. And I knew that I wasn't going to play college sports at this time. By my senior year of high school, which was 2018, I had known that I was not going to play for any college sports. I knew that I was just going to be playing for fun or in men's leagues from that point on. And even at the start of my senior year, I had fully started playing rec leagues at the time because that was the best place for me to grow my game, get content, and just get playing time. So going into my college commitment, I wasn't trying to play college sports. I just wanted to become the intramural GOAT. I thought that intramurals in college were going to be really easy. I remember I had a physical therapist one time tell me that she played a little bit of intramurals in college, but just really was not the same, and she didn't really give a hootenanny about them. So from that one person telling me that, me being young and naive and not willing to do my own research and think about other people's competitiveness, I thought that college intramurals were going to be a cakewalk, that I could go up into any school and just win championships back to back to back to back type shit. You know, Kobe and Shaq in the early 2000s, Jordan in the 90s. You know, I did not think that college intramurals were going to be hard at all. So going into this whole experience at UNLV, you know, I played my senior year, played for several teams. I had an amazing run with the final YMCA team I played for. I ended up leading my local town rec league team to a 6-1 record. We came up one game short of the undefeated season. My bad in that one game that we lost. I played like shit in that game. But essentially, the point I'm getting at here is that I went through my senior year and I had a great time, but there were plenty of times where I was just going through the motions. I wasn't hitting the weight room. I wasn't doing drills that really pushed me to be the best basketball player possible. I wasn't working on a wide variety of drills that would expand my game and would make me the best athlete. I knew that I was going to play multiple sports. I knew I wanted to play flag football, floor hockey, volleyball, water polo, this, that, and the other. I wasn't working on exercises that would help me get better at those sports or even training for those sports. As I said before, I thought everything was just going to be a cakewalk. So by the time that 2019 had rolled around, I had spent my summer before my first year of college screwing around, not training. And again, I thought it was going to be easy. So I really came into a big D1 school with fraternities and sororities and 20,000 plus kids thinking that I was just going to win every single championship. The first week of school there, I assemble a flag football team. It's a very ragtag flag football team. And I thought that we were the shit. I thought that we were going to be amazing. We even held a practice. I had an entire playbook drawn up. Maybe I'll show a picture of the playbook if I got it here. I thought we were going to win every game by a couple touchdowns. And to make a long story short, I think we may have scored 2 or 3 touchdowns the whole season, but it's hard for me to even remember how we scored or who scored. It was just a complete disaster. Again, this was a ragtag team of people that I barely knew, and we were going up against fraternities, teams that have been playing together for several years. I swear, one time we went up against a fucking semi-pro team. It was insane. Like, you could tell that multiple guys that they had on their roster had played football at a high level, and I just don't mean high school. Like, there was a dude who, I swear it was Darren Sproles on the other team. It was crazy. You know, this is a big D1 school in a big city. I was just way out of my depth. I thought that I could just walk in there and win a championship against teams that had been assembled for years. Boy, was I wrong. And in the second game of my flag football career, I partially tear my hamstring on the first catch of my career. Essentially, yeah, second game, I get my first unsportsmanlike conduct. Our quarterback goes down with an ACL tear, and literally the next play, I go down with this hamstring tear. But the thing is that I didn't know it was a hamstring tear. It happened, I did a little in route, caught the ball, turned up field, and next thing I know, I'm on the ground. It's a non-contact injury. The trainer comes over. This is like my first time ever being injured. And she just like put some ice on it, asked me how I'm doing. And I don't think it's any big deal. I'm able to walk off the field on my own accord. So I thought it was just a pull. And I didn't, again, being young and naive, I didn't understand how injuries worked and that it's important to take care of your body. And at that time I was like, oh, mama mentality. I'm just going to play through it. So the next week, after doing like no additional stretching, basically, not stretching, after doing no additional work to help that hamstring get better, I just immediately just played on it the next week. And I played this week. I did notice that my mobility was worse, so I ended up playing center, and I actually had my best game. I ended up having 3 catches, and I even ran with it a couple times. But I did notice that after the game, it felt significantly worse. And this ended up making it really bad. And because I played on a partially torn hamstring, it resulted in me getting a hematoma. And eventually I went to the doctor sometime in October 2019, and I was diagnosed with a grade 2 hamstring strain. It's crazy because all my teammates were telling me, you didn't tear it, it's just a pull. Go to the doctor. Yeah, it's partially torn. You guys see the picture. Was not good. Grade 2 hamstring strain takes about 1 to 2 months to heal. So I missed out on all the other intramurals. My first semester of college, I missed out on every intramural that I could have played. I was set up to be on a really good intramural basketball team, missed out on that. And I was even in a PE basketball class at the time, which I also missed out on because of my injury. And throughout this whole recovery process of me having this injury, I ended up having a falling out with my intramural team, and I didn't really know where to start again. By the time that winter break had rolled around, my hamstring was feeling better, but it was still like at 80 to 90%. I remember I was shooting around with my older brother over winter break, and I was telling him, fuck it, I'm going to play on the injured hamstring. And I mean, on the not 100% hamstring. I was wearing leggings, hamstring sleeves, knee sleeves, leggings. I was wearing everything, and I was moving like a robot. I was also 180 pounds at the time. So all this extra weight was making it way harder for me to move, and it was really bad for my feet. It feels like I'm being shot in the feet while I play. So on a partially torn hamstring, that was like 80% recovered, and being overweight, not having the right mentality, being completely out of shape, I decided to jump into 2020. And in February 2020, I joined the intramural team Bobby Cryant. I literally knew no one in the intramurals at the time, so I had to get on this team through free agency. And if you guys don't know how free agency works, I'm sure people that have been to big schools know about the website imleagues.com, intramuralleagues.com. You get on this website, and if you don't have a team, you just got to message all the teams. I messaged like 2 teams. One didn't get back to me. The other one did. I told them that I was like a sniper, and they allowed me to come onto the team. To make a long story short, this team was not very good. Shout out to my teammates. I think everyone did the best that they could, but we were just booty cheeks. We ended up going 1-6, and I was like Anthony Davis. I was scoring either double digits or no points at all. My best game, I had 17 points, and in the playoffs, in our only playoff game, I scored 0 points. And this moment was arguably the lowest time ever in my entire basketball career. I just remember hanging my head after that game, and I was like, damn, like 1 year ago, I was dominating rec leagues in Colorado, and I thought that a year from today, I'd have at least 2 intramural championships, maybe not in basketball, but at least in a couple sports. And due to my injury, the situation, not being able to find teams, I had been on one intramural football team that was complete ass, and I had been on one intramural basketball team that was also terrible, also completely terrible. And I was not playing good either. I didn't score any touchdowns in intramural flag football, and I was so inconsistent at UNLV intramural basketball, and I was just not performing at the level that I wanted to perform at. I had dealt with an injury, and I was still not 100%, and on top of that, I wasn't doing anything to help my injury get better, and I was still overweight. So this was the lowest point in my entire athletic career. At this time, at the end of February 2020 and early March 2020, I decided that I need to get back in the gym and I need to be better. I remember in my last UNLV pickup game, which was a couple days before they announced that the school was going to be closing down for COVID, I went absolutely nuts in my final UNLV pickup game. I had a crazy step back game winner. This was some Jamal Murray takeover Himothy type shit. Then, as I said, just as my mentality was starting to change, just as I felt like maybe I could turn things around and have some better habits, COVID happened. So COVID happens March 2020. I moved back to Colorado. And at this time in my life, I am attending a community college online because I decided I don't want to go back to UNLV if it's online. I went there to go to in-person film school. I didn't know how long COVID was going to last. I didn't know if it was going to last 1 school year or 2 school years or 3 school years. I mean, it basically ended up lasting 2 school years. So I was just an online community college for 1 semester. And during this time, I was still just trying to play every now and then. I was trying to play wherever I could. I ended up starting to play pickup at this gym called the Horizons, but we all had to wear masks, which fucking sucked. I hated playing with a mask. It was terrible. So that was like my only outlet for a while. And there were plenty of nights where I played like shit because I just still wasn't in the right state of mind. And yeah, I was still shooting around, but Colorado gets cold in the winter. I didn't have a gym membership. I was really just out of practice. And during 2020 up through early 2021, I wasn't playing organized basketball, obviously. I wasn't shooting around as often as I should have. And not being able to play the game really, really messed up a ton of my happiness. And I was really just fucked up at the time, to be point blank with it. And I felt like college was just passing me by and that I was missing out on something that I really wanted to do, which was play intramurals. And the world was a mess, and so was I. But despite the fact that I probably should have been trying to play more, the circumstances weren't really allowing for it. But there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. In March of 2021, I moved to Florida to be with the other side of my family. The first couple of months in Florida were rough. It's never easy when you're moving to a new place, getting used to a new environment. But slowly but surely, I found my groove in the Sunshine State. And most importantly, I rediscovered a routine for playing basketball, which helped me rediscover my love of the game. And this was all during summer of 2021. I was training day in and day out, trying to get as good as possible. I was using the app Home Court at the time. No, this is not a sponsored video, but Home Court is a good app. And by fall of 2021, I realized that I needed to get back to in-person school for 2022. To give you guys some context, for most of that time when I was in Colorado, I was in online community college, but in 2021, I transferred to this online school called Maryville University Online. So through this whole time, I'm just going to school online, not really doing much other than playing basketball and going to online school. But by the fall of 2021, I had came to the realization that my game and my jump shot was getting way too good to just be wasted in online school. So I decided that I was going to attend Maryville starting in fall of 2022. So I would have a year to prepare mentally and physically for my intramural comeback. And this is where the fun really began. So I kept training, I kept getting better, I refined my game, and by the time fall 2022 rolled around, I was prepared for my intramural comeback. So the last UNLV basketball game that I played, where I scored 0 points in the playoffs, was March 9th, 2020. My intramural comeback at Maryville took place September 14th, 2022. That is 919 days in between organized basketball games, almost 1,000 days without being around the game that I love and around the sport and the system. That is a long ass time to go without something. And I wanted to play intramurals so badly coming out of high school. So to go almost 1,000 days without getting to play is just, it's crazy for me to look back on. I do not know how I went that long without the game that I love. You guys can see all the highlights that I had throughout the season on this channel, but it was an up and down season. I scored a lot, but it was on pretty inefficient shooting. I did have some amazing games. I willed and led my team to victory a couple times. I ended up finishing the season with the most total points in the league, the most points per game in the league, and I had 2 game-winning shots. We ended up losing in the second round of the playoffs, and at the end of the season, I was awarded my first MVP award in the first league that I had played in 2.5 years. And to be truthful with you guys, I do enjoy that MVP a lot, and I believe that after how long I took away from the game and all the work that I put to get back to this point, I do believe that I deserved it, but I really wasn't satisfied with how I played. And that's why I still got a year of intramurals left. That's why I'm going to continue to push myself to be the greatest player that I can be. And that's why I want to win another MVP, and most importantly, I want to win another championship. So, to recap, 2018, this young naive kid decides he wants to become the intramural GOAT. 2019, he shows up, he's way out of his depth, and he ends up tearing his hamstring. 2020 through 2022, he stays in his room, in the gym, in online school, recovering, getting better, searching for purpose, searching for meaning, searching for reasons to keep going. But through it all, I persevered and I stuck with the game that I love. And at the end of 2022, I was awarded my first MVP award after not playing an organized basketball game for almost 3 years. 997 days separated that playoff game at UNLV where I had 0 points and the day that I won my MVP award. Almost 1,000 days. 1,000 days of waiting for a moment like that to happen. With COVID and with how fucked up the world got and how that messed up my intramural career, I am so grateful to be where I'm at today. But 1,000 days I waited for my one nice intramural moment. And luckily, I have a whole nother year to continue to make memories. I believe that this is a true, bittersweet sports story that I'm hoping can end a little more sweet. So now you guys know that is my intramural story. That's the story from fall 2019 to fall 2022. Spring 2023, there was really not much of a story to tell again. Fortunately, I explained this in the dodgeball vlog that I did, but the lady who was running intramurals got really busy, and the school just also had a lot going on at the time, so we ended up only having the dodgeball intramural the second semester. So the MVP for now is kind of where my intramural story ends, but next year, intramurals at my school should be much bigger. They should have more sports, more games going on. So I'm hoping that I can continue to make memories and give you guys the best content possible. Just wanted to end this video on this note. There is so much more work to be done. I still want to make that naive kid from 2018 proud. And I know I will. Until next time, Headband J, signing off.